Hello and welcome back to the Gold Newsletter. My name is Kai Hoffmann. I'm the @JR Mining Guy over on X, and together with our good friend Brien Lundin, I'm the host of the Gold Newsletter channel, and I'm really looking forward to welcoming back a company we've had on a couple of times here on the channel, but it's been quiet over the summer because they've been busy working in British Columbia, and it is none other than Brixton Metals. We're joined by Chairman and CEO Gary Thompson. The company just put out some results over the last 10 days. Latest hole was released only yesterday as we're recording this, and we have to of course talk about the hole. It's an interesting hole. It's fairly high grade at the bottom of the hole, so we'll chat about that. What did the company learn? What did the company do over the summer? So lots to chat about. And before I switch over to my guest, hit that like and subscribe button. Helps us out tremendously, and if you're an investor in the company, it helps widen the reach and maybe find a couple new investors for Brixton Metals here as well. Now, Gary, it is a great pleasure to have you back on. You're joining me from the road. Thanks so much for making the time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hi, Kai. Good to see you again. It has been a while.
It has been a while. Yeah, no, it's great to catch up. And you're on the road right now. You're in Australia. You're marketing Brixton Metals down in Australia. Let's start off there. What's the mood? What's the sentiment down under?
It's actually my first time over here, and I'm quite encouraged. It's quite a positive mining market, even though the locals say that the IPO market is actually soft this year than the last previous years. They've had a big run, and but there's still lots of buzz in the mining sector, and I guess we're not the only Canadian junior down here looking for investors. But I would say that I feel like there's a buoyant mining market here, as we sort of anticipated when we came over here, and so we're looking at potential investors and considering a dual listing here, just because there seems to be better access to capital, which many investors in the North American and Canadian markets know. It's been a tough few years in the market, and looking at our share price, it's rather depressing. So we're just trying to find new avenues and new sources of capital, and there seems to be some excitement here. So so far so good.
No, absolutely. I feel like the market in North America is changing a little bit as well, but of course not as quickly as everybody wants to. And but I'm quite optimistic. If you would have asked me 3 months ago, I would have taken you to the pub and got drunk with you, quite honestly, and then shared our sorrows here. But my mood is way better. I have to tell you, it's like I've been on the road a bit. Like I've spoken to investors, been to Beaver Creek. It's better. It's getting better. It's getting better. Like $2,700 gold,
I mean,
obviously helps, right?
2,700 gold. I think it looks like it's going to 3,000. I mean, come on, what more do you want? It's looking pretty good. So good time to be drilling for gold.
Yeah, absolutely. Margin expansion seems to be happening as well. I did some really rough math on the Barrick production results. It wasn't even guidance, but results for Q3. Looks like they'll come in about $950, close to $1,000 in margin this past quarter. So that's if that doesn't excite people, I don't know what will excite people.
Yeah, I mean, those are good margins, right?
Absolutely, $1,000 margin. Come on. Like, how do you not like that? I just hope there's no nasty write-offs or so the miners always surprise us with, right? And when there's, we're making money, let's write something off. So, no, but I'm quite optimistic moving forward, to be frank here. And but let's talk about Brixton, because you've had a busy summer season as well. You spent $12.5 million over the summer. Let's start there. Like, what did you spend the money on? What did you learn? And what got you excited over the summer there, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, mostly drilling. I think we're pushing over 14,000 meters drilling. It was a big copper focus for us this year. Obviously, Camp Creek is still have the lion's share of the meters. Trying to find that sweet spot, the honey hole within this kilometer by kilometer block of porphyry that we're now onto there, copper, gold, silver, moly, porphyry. But we also, tested a few other targets in and around the main area, like the Cirque porphyry target, which is a new target. We have never drilled there, so we've got some holes into that. We did some drilling up on the North target, which is quite a ways away, 15 kilometers away from Camp Creek, so a whole new area that hadn't seen much work. And we also did some geophysics, ground-based MT geophysics, which generated some pretty large conductor anomalies. And of course, like we always do, prospecting and mapping and soil sampling as well. And that's actually, I think that's part of the exciting part for us this year, because we basically found 3 brand new copper anomalies at surface from prospecting and sampling that at least two of them hadn't seen any boots on the ground, and the third one out in the east area actually was found. We're calling it the Sentinel target, and it was found based on satellite alteration imaging that we acquired several years ago, and then we did some grid work on it over the last couple of years, and we went back out there this year and pretty encouraged by what we're seeing on surface there. So that's a 2025 target that we're excited about. And then, of course, given where the gold market is, we didn't want to end the season without getting some more drilling done on the Trapper target. So we got about, of our 14,000 meters for the season, we got about 20% of that was drilled on the gold target.
Yeah, 2,700 meters, I think, roughly, were drilled at Trapper. You just released some holes over the last 7-8 days here. Can you break down those holes for us, those gold results?
Yeah, so the most recent one was a step hole, actually a couple holes, but we released one significant one, about a 65-meter step to the southeast of the trend. And it was an encouraging hole. It was a broad mineralized interval, 227 meters. But I think what's significant about it was some of the highest grade that we've seen. Around 200 meters, we hit a 2-meter interval of 44 grams per ton gold. That was within about an 8-meter interval of 11 grams of gold. And then depending on how you chop and change it, there's 27 meters of 3.5 grams or 49 meters of 2 grams. So depending on how you want to look at it. But I think what's encouraging is that it's a well mineralized hole. We are seeing some visible gold in it, and it's associated with these base metal veins. It's kind of a unique, we're calling it an intermediate sort of epithermal sulfidation epithermal system associated with these base metal veins. So it's an encouraging target, and we had released some holes earlier. It was on the opposite end of the trend from this zone, so we have it drilled now to about 600 meters in strike, and based on some of the previous drilling, it's down to 400 meters, and this starts at surface generally. So it's an exciting target because there's some high grade in here. We also had, like previously drilled, 400 meters of a gram. So there's some broad mineralized interval. So 400 meters depth to about 600 meters strike, and it's open. Well, it's wide open. So it really sets us up nicely for next season. And I'm excited to get a lot more holes in it, in the next season.
Yeah, it's like, let's maybe talk about the next season while you brought that up here. But what will the future drilling focus on? Like, are you going to build more of a resource, meaning maybe a bit of infill, or are you planning to really test the edges of the system and see how big this thing is? Like,
yeah,
where are you
that's always the goal, right? Everybody wants to know how big could it be, and so do we. I think there's lots of room to grow it. We have some really good geophysics that's magnetics that's actually working for us here. The gold seems to like this mag low features. So we've got a bunch of these mag low features that haven't been tested. So overlaid with the geochem, it certainly opens the door. We haven't done any metallurgical work, so that's something we want to start looking at perhaps next season, is get some of that work behind us. And we're starting to think about, can we get this thing into a resource? And that's something we're going to look at over the winter internally to see if we're there yet. I get a sense that we're going to have to do a fair amount more drilling, but what we're curious about is how big can this thing grow? And it looks like there's a lot of similar structures based on the geophysics. We know this thing is structurally controlled, so that's going to be one thing that we're probably going to put some emphasis on, is try and understand the structural controls to this type of mineralization, because it's rather unique. We don't see much of this this style of mineralization elsewhere on the property. It doesn't appear to be related to the porphyry system, although the rocks are the same age. It does have this epithermal signature to it. So I think there's lots to learn about it. We've had, our first season here was 2021. So, we've only had a few seasons drilling it, and I guess, just didn't get enough meters on it this year because it was a big copper focus for us this year. And I think going forward, that's still going to be a driver. I mean, this is largely a copper gold porphyry district, but we do see a number of gold dominant zones like the Trapper. Certainly, there are some base metals in there, and we didn't report those, but I would kind of consider those as anomalous. It might add a gram equivalent to the numbers, but we decided to leave them off just to keep it more straightforward. And I think the gold numbers kind of stand alone anyways, so not to complicate the story. But it is associated with with these base metal veins.
How many meters in total have you put into Trapper so far? You said since 2021. So how much in total have you drilled there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to say we're probably in that 20,000 meters.
Okay. That's quite significant. Like in terms of depth, because I've seen like most of the holes ended sort of around 260, or at least the last one I've looked at was around 260, 265 meters. Any deeper drilling, or is that sort of the edge? And why do you target that horizon maybe?
Yeah. So, well, the mineralization, I mean, it's hosted in the volcanics, the Triassic Stihini group, Lapilli Tooth volcanics. It's also hosted in the diorite unit, which is a younger Cretaceous age diorite that's hosting the mineralization. And where the best mineralization is at the contact between the diorite and the volcanics. That contact is not a linear, straight, planar contact. It's undulating and moving around, and it's doing its own thing. And then there's some structural complexity to it. So the deepest hole we've drilled, actually, one of the results we put out earlier was about a 520 meter hole, and the mineralization started around 200. So it looks like, at least on the northern part of the zone, where we've expanded it to the north as well, is deeper. So yeah, we're still trying to figure it out. It looks like where the main part of the mineralization is that we've been drilling has a northwest trend to it. But as you go south, it kind of bends off to the east, and as you go north, it kind of bends off more to the north. So there's a bit of a banana-shaped zone, and I just think it opens it up. We've had lots of high-grade gold surface sampling outside the main area that really hasn't been drilled properly. In some cases, it's a bit tough to drill because of the terrain, but where the main zone is, it's actually quite a nice little ridge top there. So it looks like it could be a easy mine design there potentially. Lots of work to do there for sure.
How does the surface sampling correlate with the drilling? When you see, like, do you usually drill underneath the surface? Like, how does that correlate, and what's the correlation over the last 2-3 years here?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, what's working, obviously, gold. You have gold in the soil or rock. In some cases, you have visible gold in outcrop. So we basically just drill right at the target, right there at the gold. In some cases, we're using where we don't have rock exposure. We're either using gold in the soil sampling. So some cases, the gold's coming through. In some cases, we don't see a very strong gold signature at surface, but we see zinc. And we were actually using, a few years ago, we were using zinc from our XRF, portable XRF analysis on site. And we're getting these high zinc numbers, and we put some holes into that, and boom, we're getting good gold grades. So that is helping. It is working here. And I think that will continue to shine. And, like I say, we've got about a 600 meter strike of this thing. Right now, the anomaly is about 4 kilometers long. So strike wise, I think we've got a lot, a lot to play with here. And yeah, we just got to get a lot more drilling on this thing.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I was going to ask, like, a follow-up. Like, there's a few holes pending, obviously, from Trapper. Like, what's sort of the timeline? What are you looking at in terms of putting those results out? What do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, I think, timeline, we should be getting those in the next weeks and month or so, because we drilled these, quite a while ago. The labs, it kind of seem to fluctuate on timing, but it seems like it's getting a little bit better on the turnaround. So I think we've got another 6 or 7 holes to come out on the Trapper target. And again, the balance of the drilling, I think we're only about maybe 40%, maybe close to 50% that we've released so far from the program. So still lots of holes. We still have two of the deep Camp Creek holes, the deep porphyry holes to come, and then some of the other targets that we drilled as well are still yet to report on.
No, fantastic. Okay, that's quite a bit of news flow over the next little while here, over the fall season here at least. And I'm sure there's going to be some interpretation results, new drill targets to be announced following that as well, I guess. Is that a fair
Yeah, I
assumption
mean,
here?
it'll give us a bit of time over the winter months to digest it. I mean, some of the other work that we did on site. So we have a master's student that's part of the BC Porphyry study with MDRU that is looking at some of these cross-cutting relationships. We've done a lot of age dating. We've done a lot of alteration mapping with the TerraSpec. So we've got a lot of data to process and chew through to help refine the targets for next year. And of course, as I mentioned, we've got some exciting new targets that haven't seen any drilling that we'll want to fine tune and sort of get those kind of drilled up early in the season.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And Gary, you mentioned to me before hitting the record button, the season is pretty much over up in northern BC. What's the weather like? You're folding up camp?
Yeah, I mean, our season there, if people aren't aware, it's sort of May to October. Yeah, it's starting. We're starting to see some snow in the high levels. You typically get more rain. It's patchy weather. It's really. I mean, we spent the budget. We had 2 drills turning most of the season, so we'll be closed up. I think within the week. We're just finishing up the last hole and we're taking a shot over on the trifecta target, which was one that we had targeted from last year's work, but it kind of just got moved down the list. But we had a little bit of extra meterage before the end of the season, so that's one we're finishing up on now.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And it's getting cold up there. Snow. Is there snow on
It's
the
getting
ground
cold.
yet? Is there snow on the ground yet?
No, I don't think in camp there's snow, but you can certainly see snow in the higher elevations, and it is getting cold.
Winter is coming, Gary.
Winter is coming, yeah.
No, fantastic. Awesome. I think we comprehensive overview and update. Of course, we're looking forward to some more of the drill results here from Trapper. I'm really excited to see those deep holes as well from the Camp Creek target, see what they will tell us here, Gary. And really appreciate the update. Good luck marketing down in Australia. As you said, it's a buoyant market down there, and I hope it carries over to Canada a little bit, and you bring some of that euphoria over to Canada as well. So
I'll do what I can. Yeah, I appreciate that, Kai. Thanks very much.
Absolutely. No, appreciate you coming on, and to everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in here to a company update from Brixton Metals on the Gold Newsletter channel. If you haven't done so, kindly hit that like and subscribe button, and if you share that video with like-minded investors, helps us broaden our reach, helps maybe like-minded investors find this story as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back with lots more here on the Gold Newsletter channel. Thank you so much.